Welcome to Zoho Creator Tech Connect series on page variables and page script. The people who have recently joined the Tech Connect series, just to let you know what this Tech Connect series is, nothing but it's a month-on-month meet which we conduct to enhance the technical knowledge of our learners. So every month we conduct the technical sessions. It can be based out of a new product feature which has been released, or we collate all the product features together and we'll share it across by using some examples or the use case which can help you to build the applications. It's more inclined towards the technical knowledge is what we are trying to mention over here. Similar to that, we also do have a learning table series wherein this year we have been trying to do is 12-month 12 industries. Every month we used to pick one use case and we will share the implementation of the application in the specific industry. So first of all, before I move forward, a happy creator developer month. So to everyone who build solutions that bring the people together, we wish you a happy creator developer month from Zoho Creator training team. Now let's go ahead and start the session. And before we start the session, here are some ground rules. So during the session, all the attendees will be on mute. So in case if you have any questions or something, you can post it in the chat. We do have our co-trainers who are available in the panel list. So the moment you put the questions over there, we will be answering your questions right away. The recording of the sessions, it will be sent definitely to all the registrants. So I've already shared one link in the chat, so you can bookmark that link. That link will help you to check for the previous recordings, what have been shared so far. And yes, last but not the least, in case if there are any polls or survey that you'll see during or after the session, that will help us out. So please do participate in the polls and the surveys. So let's start with the agenda of the session. The agenda of the session is to go with the introduction. We will understand what is a page variable, what is page script, how the page variables can be utilized, and how the page script is being utilized over there. And then we'll go with few live demonstration. We'll use the page variables, we'll create some scripts over there, and there are few key pointers that we will share by the end of the session. So let's not waste time and let's go and move on to the first topic, which is regarding to the navigation part of it. Where is the page variable located? And I'll just show it to you. So if we have a new learner who is recently started learning about Zoho Creator, I hope you know about one of the page component, which is the dashboards. So this will help you to collate all the information together at one place. So this dashboard will help you to get the data from forms, from reports. You can use the panels, gauge, and multiple options which are already been available. At the same place, at the top right corner, once you get into the edit mode of this application, you will see one of the option which is under the name of page variable or page script. Now you can go ahead and click on it and you will get two options. One is page variable and the second one is page script. Let me just show it to you how and where this exists. So I hope the screen is still visible and I'm audible to everyone, right? So if that's a yes, can I get some reactions over there? Okay, great. Thank you. So I was just mentioning about the application's edit mode. So this is the edit mode of this application. I can simply click on add new. And once I click on add new, as the components which are available, we have the third one, which is page. I'll simply click on it. I'll go to a blank one and let's mention it as a dashboard. And I'll simply click on create a page. Now, once I click on create a page at the top right corner, I'll just zoom in a bit so that it will be visible for you. This small symbol, which is to represent the page variables and script. So earlier, we used to have the settings option. Once you click on the settings over here, we had the page parameters. Now, the only difference is earlier we used to have the page parameters, which is only accepting the string. So now we have introduced rest of the options as well, like other data types like integer, a boolean, even a collection data type can also be added over there, right? So I'll just close this one. I'll click on this page variable and you have two options available. This is the place where you will add the variable. And the second one is about the script. So you can write the function over here and introduce and connect it with the page variable, which can further be utilized. Let's say I can even go with the panel, even I can go with the report or a form, the way I want to implement and show it across the dashboard. It is now possible with the help of page script and page variable. So I'll just refresh this page and I'll go back to my presentation over here. So the page variable, let's go with the introduction first. We'll start with the page script over here. What are page variables and page script? What is a page script? In Creator, the page scripts are nothing but the functions that can be created, or it can be used to accomplish the common tasks which are inside the pages. As you know that these functions will help you to enable or write your own logic using the deluge scripting language. It will help you to enable you to go with some dynamic fetching and populate the required values across all the pages elements using the page variables. And not just that, the page variable also lets you to manage the entire script for a page that is also in one page. So this page variable and this page script tab. So on accessing the page in the live mode, the script will be automatically executed, and the values will be populated in the configured elements automatically. But here is one important thing that I want you to share right now. You can create only one script in a page, and that should be in the creator application. Though you have multiple pages, then you can go with multiple scripts as well. There are other limitations and all that we will let you know by the end of the session. Now just move on to the next one. Now the next one is about a page variable. Now what is a page variable? Page variables are used to store the values like a similar to a variables that we have been using in deluge. So this is going to help you to store the values without your or within your scripts as well. So these variables have a data type that determines the kind of the data that they can hold, like for example numbers, strings, or even boolean values as well. So these variables will allow you to store the data and perform the calculations and even control the flow execution of your script. Now, what is the most important thing over here is you need to note that whenever we are trying to create a script over there, before even we started scripting, we would request you to create the page variable. The question may arise like what exactly will happen to the page variables or the page parameters that are already existing. So for that, my co-trainers will share a link into the chat. You will have the reference document. So those page parameters which were already existing are still there. We have not changed anything over there. It's just that as of now, we cannot edit them. If you want, you can create a new one, but yes, if you want, you can delete it. But once you have created, the editing is not available as of now. But no problem, we got you covered. So we got this page variable which can be used at multiple places. Let's start understanding it with the help of different syntax which are available. Now what kind of syntax are available? So generally, or on a general way, you can use a page variable in a syntax like you can go with dollar, and then you can put the variable name. Where you can use it, I'll show it to you when I'll create one of the page variables. Let's say I'm going to add it in a panel, and I'll drag and drop the panel. I can simply add those page variable over there. Right, in the same way, similar to the general syntax, we do have HTML and ZML. So this syntax will again be shared with my co-trainers into the chat. So the reference documents will be available to you, so you can see how it can be utilized. So this is the syntax for the ZML, and similar to that, we also have the syntax for HTML. So it's nothing but you can see over here we are adding let's say equals to input, add the variable over here, and this is again enclosed in the similar HTML tags. Right, now the question arises where these page variables can be used. So the page variables is now can be used at various places. For example, the first one is it can be used with the panels. As I was explaining, it can be used to display for any actions or even images as well. Similarly, if I want to go with the chart, so you can set a filter or use the ZML. You can add a criteria over there. Within these criteria, you have an option to add these page variables. Then we also do have the gauge, so you can set the filter where you can use the ZML. Let's say if you want to show the progress bar or something using the gauge parameters, then that specific panel can also be changed with the help of page variable, and it can be displayed over there. If I want to search a specific element, then that can also be done with the help of the page variables. And last but not the least, we also do have forms and reports. Now, if I have a form and I want to show some specific information about the form and the report, you can set the value of the fields in the form, and you can put a criteria, or put a filter over there, and you can even filter the data based on that specific variable. I'll show it to you in example today with the help of a form, so you can understand how I'm going to use it, and not just with the static fetching. You can even go with the dynamic fetching as well. And last but not the least, it can be used with the help of a button. You can assign the variable over there, put an action to it, and then those buttons can be used to display, or go with an action or the image as well. Now, to explain you in a better way, we have created an application, and I would like to show and explain you first the flow of the application, so that you can understand why this page variable is being utilized in this manner. Now let's take an example of project management, wherein multiple projects which have been shared by the project coordinators in the college to all the students. So there should be a management process where all the projects which are submitted by the college students, it can be reviewed easily by any faculties or the teachers. So how do they do that? Let's take an example over here with the creation of the project. So the project coordinator will create the project for all the students. Once the project has been created, it will be shared to all the students over there, or we can call it as assign the projects to them. Once this project has been assigned, the students will start working on the projects, and once the project is completed, they'll submit the project, right? So they, post submitting the project, they will just upload the data, and let's say everything has been submitted, the date has been captured, and it will now be sent to review. Now, who will review this? Of course, the faculties or the teachers or even the project coordinators, they want to review the project. Now, the situation arises like, if I want to check on a specific date, let's say on 18th of September or on 17th of September this month, how many of the students have submitted from what all years, let's say from first year graduates or second year graduate students, how many of them have submitted what kind of projects. If I can check it in the dashboard itself, it will be very helpful, and that can be done with the help of page parameters, and that's what we are going to introduce over here. So these page variables will help us out to fetch the information, and you can fetch it by the date, where I can put a filter for the submission basis the dates, right? So I'll just show it to you how the same can be done. Let me go ahead by taking an example with an HTML snippet. So I was showing you this application, right? Let me just simply click on done right now. I'll go to access this application in a new tab. Now here is my student project details, the form. Let's say I just created a simple form over here to capture the name, the roll number, the kind of branch we do have, like civil, computer science, electronics and communication, or others like that. Some project submission date, I added a date field over here, and I added some year to capture what kind of year they are in. Now I've created a report basis that, and here is my report. So I would say that I've captured most of the information. So over here, everything has been captured. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get it across the dashboard over here, where if I click on a specific date, let's say I'll click on a specific date for any of the month, then automatically it should fetch up all the information from the form or from the report itself, right? So how do I do that? Let me just show it to you. To do that, first of all, I'll try to get into the edit mode of this page, and I'll open the form builder, and here I'll use the concept of stateless form. To do that, I'll go with the duplicate option. At the top right corner, you see this three dots. I'll click on this three dots, and I'll simply click on duplicate. Once I click on duplicate, let me just do that, I'll get an option to duplicate the form. So I'll just mention it as stateless form of student project details. Now, what is a stateless form? the stateless form is nothing but I can capture the information, but I don't want the data to be stored anywhere within Zoho Creator. So this kind of form will help me to get the information, and I can just use the forms and fields which is already available, and I can put a criteria over there which will help me out to go with further actions. So I'm not gonna check mark over there, and I'll just simply click on duplicate. Now, once I click on duplicate, it will create the form. It is similar to the same form that has already been existing. I'll get into the properties and I can see that I don't need a submit or a reset button. So I'll just simply delete them. All right, so I have deleted them and I'll simply click on done. Now this has been created. Now what I'll do is, let's try to refresh the page and check whether it's opening there. Yeah, so a stateless form has been created. Now all I have to do is I'll get into the dashboard over here and I'll get into the form builder. Now once I get in the form builder, since we are going to use an HTML snippet, I'll drag and drop the HTML snippet. But here's the thing, as we have already mentioned, before even we start creating the scripting or do anything, we should first create a page variable. So I'll simply click on the page variable over here. I have an option to add the variable. Let's try to create a page variable. Let's say I'll mention it as parameter underscore date. And this time, as I was showing you and telling you, right, so we do have multiple data types which are available. We can go with string, we can go with integer, float, boolean, or even a collection data type. Now let's take a simple example with the string right now, and I'll say add, and it has been added. So right now I don't have an option to change and make any changes over here. I can just change the variable name and update it. Apart from that, I cannot change the data type. If you want, you can simply delete it, or you want to add some new page variables, you can simply add it over here right now. So I've created a page variable under the name of parameter underscore date. Now what I'll do is I'll get back to my snippets. I'll drag and drop the HTML snippet over here. Now once I click on or drop the HTML snippet, I have an option to embed a form, a report, or a widget. Let's say I'll start embedding it with a form. Let me just drag and drop a form. I'll go to the next line. In the next line, let's say I'm going to add a report. Now when it's just simply drag and drop, right? So I'm not doing too much of coding over here. That's what the low code options are available with Zoho Creator. Now I have an option to add a form link name, which I can simply check it from here. Where do I do that? I'll get into the edit mode of this application. I'll access this application in a new tab, and over here in the edit mode, I'm using the stateless form. I'll go with the open form builder. At the top, I could have used the form link name from here itself, or I can do one thing. I can simply click over here and go to the rename. That's where I'll get my form link name. So this is something that if I want to show the specific form over there, I have to copy the form link name from here, and I'll simply paste the form link name over here. Similar to that, if I want to go with a report, how do I do that? Let me simply click on done. I'll go to the specific report. I can go to the report properties. I can copy it from here itself, or I can click on rename and I can copy the report link name from here, and I can paste the report link name over here. Right now, the next thing is we need to add the page parameters that we have introduced into the parameters over here. So how do I do that? Let me just show it to you. First, I'll go with and %. Let me copy this and let me put it over here, and we'll go with the field. If you don't remember the name of the field, then you can always refer the field by clicking over here, refer field, which is available at the top right corner. Select the page, the name, and select the application name and the form name. So I'm using a stateless form, and this is the field which I want to use. So I'll simply click on close. So you can see the form link name or the field link name is now been added over here successfully. Now, next to that, as per the syntax, which is already been shared, we'll try to use the same syntax. I'll say equals to, and then I'll just mention over here as input dot parameter underscore date. I mentioned, so it's case sensitive, so you should know that it should be used in a proper manner. So yeah, so we have added everything over here. Now the next is in the same, I'll just copy this one and I'll paste it over here. All right, now I'll try to save it and let's see if we are able to fetch these information. So I'll just refresh the page and I'll get into the dashboard which we have created right now. Okay, right now we have failed to retrieve the report because we need to add the workflows and rest of the information over here. So how do I do that? I'll just make a few more changes over here. Let me simply close this. I'll simply click on done and then I'll get into the workflow. I'll create a workflow over here. This is on a user input of a field. I'll choose the field and I'll select this field. I'll name the workflow, let's say as sort report, and I'll simply click on create a workflow. Now once I click on create a workflow, I have an option to add a new action to it. So I'll simply add a new action and let me just type the script over here, and it can be a open URL. Now what kind of URL it should open? I'll just copy this. Okay, so I was into the dashboard over here and here is the script that I have written, and I just added the page parameters over here, right? And next to that I was trying to click on close over here and then click on done. I was trying to open the workflow. Now over here I try to add the workflow. I'm trying to add a new action to it, and yeah, I'll be using a dilute script. Okay, for some reason it's okay. I'll get into add new action. All right, now I'll just type the script over here as open URL and I'll just mention as hashtag page dashboard that we are trying to use, and I'll add a parameter underscore date should be equals to, and I'll try to input. So I'll say input dot project submission date, and what kind of a window it should be opening in the same window. I'll simply try to save it. I'll just close it. I'll say done, and we'll try to access this application in a new tab. And let's see. Okay, it says we have failed to retrieve the report. Okay, it started showing up properly now. As you can see, I'm submitting a specific date. So if I choose a specific date, let's say 21 or 20, so 21 no data has been added, let's say on 17th, basis that it is adding the rest of the information. But if I want to go with the putting a conditions over there, I can also do that. Let me just show it to you how. I'll open the form, the page builder over here, and I can simply add few conditions as well. Now here, let me just show it to you what kind of conditions can be added. So I'll say that if no date has been selected, I want the current date to be displayed over there. So I'll just mention as if, and I'll say input dot parameter underscore date. It should be equals to null, and I'll remove this and I'll simply mention as input dot parameter underscore date dot is empty. So I'll just mention is empty, and I'll close it, and I'll add one more condition over there. So I can simply mention it over here. It has input dot parameter underscore date should be equals to Zoho dot current date. I can close it and I'll simply click on save. So you can see very easily I am able to make these changes. All I have to do is if I just refresh this page basis the current date, that specific date will be added and it should be displayed. If I change the date as well, automatically it should be mentioned. So you can see if I choose any of the date, let's say 19th September, automatically basis that whatever projects have been submitted, how I can add it into my dashboard. Right, so this is one of the example which I wanted to show it to you. Another example was let's say, let me just skip the slides, just give me a moment. Next example is if I want to fetch the information from two different forms. Let's say from form number 1 I have some information and some form number 2 I have some information, and even I can do the calculations as well. For example, I'll show it to you as an example, right? I'll add one form and that form will calculate the number of chats and number of calls being taken, and how I can use it on the dashboard, how it can be displayed is what we are going to see. Now let me just get back to the application again and I'll get into the edit mode of this application. I'll just close it right now. I'll simply click on done. I'll first create a form over here and let's mention it as calls taken or calls form. I'll simply click on create the form. Similar to that, I'll go with a single line and I'll just mention it as calls taken by, and I'll add a number field to, let's say, to fetch the number of calls which have been taken so far, and an email address. So in order to capture the email address, there should be one unique value through which I need to pass this information. So this is one of the form which I have created. Let's try to access it and add a few data to it. Let's say I'll mention as Abhilash and some number as 123 and an email address. I'll add an email address and I'll simply click on submit. Similar to that, I'll add, let's say, one more information, Sam number as 44 and email, let's say some email address, and I'll simply click on submit. Similar to that, let me try to get into the edit mode of this application and I'll go and create another form and I'll just mention it as chat form. And I'll simply click on create a form. Once I click on create a form, I'll do the same thing. I'll add a single line and I'll just mention it as chats taken by and a number field and a email address. All right, so let's say we have got two different forms which we have created so far. I'll simply click on done and I'll try to access this application now. And I'll add the chats taken by as, let's say, myself, Blush, and I'll say some 43 chats and an email address, and I'll simply click on submit. Similar to that, I'll go for Sam again. Let's mention some numbers at 66 and email address. I'll simply click on submit. Okay. Now, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get into the edit mode of this application. I'll go to the dashboard. I'll create another page and let's say this is to show the calls taken so far. I'll click on create the page and I'll first configure the variables. I'll add a variable over here, two variables that I'm going to add. One is to get the name, that will be under the string, and I'll add another one. There should be, let's say, the total count, and this should be an integer. Now I'll simply click on add. Right now, once that has been done, I'll get into the scripting part of it. Now, what all things and how it can be added, let me just get into the new line and I'll just zoom it a bit. Okay, now I'll mention it as here chat rec, which should be equals to chats from the chat form I am going to take. the information, which should have the email address, which should be equals to Zoho dot login user ID. Similar to that, I'll say call received, or the chat received. Similar to that, call received, which should be equals to this is from my calls form, and I'm fetching the email, which should be equals to, again same, Zoho dot login user ID, and this should be the number of calls which has been taken. Then I'll try to input for the name page variable that I have added over there. This should be equals to chat trick, which I have added over there, dot that's taken by. Similar to that, for the other another variable that we have added was total count, right? So for the total count, it should be equals to static dot number plus call rec. I'll simply click on save. Yeah, I was trying to add it over here with the details. I'm trying to save it. Line number 3. Okay. Not working properly. Let me just double check. Okay, no problem. I'll just show it to you in a different application. I do have that one also opened. Let me just click on done, and I'll try to access this application over here. So once that has been created, let's say I'm handling the same over here, and I'll open the page builder. I have added the welcome, and I'll just show it to you. So the value which has been added over here, like I've added a heading, and with that, if I use this dollar symbol, automatically the name will come up, and this is like a total count where I can choose the total count in this manner. So I can choose the page variables. First I need to select the page variables from here. Once that is being shown, the actual page variable will be mentioned in total count, and it will display in this manner. Let me just click on done, and I'll try to access this application now. Once I try to access this application, it will show welcome Abhilash, and 24 tickets has been handled so far, and it will display in this manner. Right now, similar to that, I'll show it to you another application. Let's say I do have a library management system. Now within this, I do have the book inventories, and all book inventory details can be captured. Members can be added it from here by using this form, all members, and others I have added a dashboard. I'll get into the edit mode of this application, and let me just show it to you how the same can be utilized. So this is my dashboard, and this is a report which I've created. I'll first show into the page variables. I do have author, ISBN, X, like these are the different data types. It can be in string, integer, these kind of different data types are being added over there. Then if I open the report over here, I'll get into the filter. I've added a filter over there with the author name, which is equals to input X. So whatever I add over there as the input X, it will be mentioned, or it will be displayed automatically. How do I do that? I'll simply click on done, and I'll try to access this application now. Now once I access this application, at the last, if I put the name of the author, so and the dynamic URL, if I even put a URL query, automatically from that also I can fetch the information. Let's say I'll just press enter. Automatically it started showing up the name of the author and the books which has been published. This can also be viewed in the same manner, right? So coming back to the presentation over here, these are the few examples that I wanted to share it with you. Similar to that, this is what I just mentioned. Now let's get into the limitations of it. The limitations are like one script per page can be created. You cannot call a script across multiple pages. Apart from that, once the variables are created, it cannot be edited. Like you cannot change the data type. So these are the below mentioned deluge tasks that cannot be listed while configuration. Like for example, data access like add records, update records, delete records, debug. You cannot go with the info. Web data like post URL, open URL, send email, assign profile to app users. These all things are actually in the pipeline. The product team is working very hard to get all these things. But once it has been done, we'll be sharing it with you slowly and gradually. We'll come up with such webinars so that you can understand how this can be implemented across various applications in your industries. So let's go with a small recap of what we have understood so far. So there are page variables and page script. It can be used to store the values in the variables, and it can be used within the script. You can fetch the data from multiple forms and you can store it in variable that can be displayed. And it can also be used as a dynamic URL and fetch the information accordingly. So what is planned for the next session? So we have been continuously working on the deluge sessions. 5 sessions has already been conducted. My co-trainers will share the link in the chat. So if you want to check what has been conducted so far, you can check it over there. The next session will be based out of cloud functions. Now, the upcoming sessions, we do have learning table series. As I was mentioning that we do have 12-month, 12 industries. Next month, we are going to conduct it for creator for the insurance. And that's the link to if you want, you can go ahead and register it by using the link. The same will be shared into the chat as well. The timing for the America sessions will remain same, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. as per the Indian Standard Time. And similarly, we'll go with the 12th of October at 9 p.m. IST. The same QR code has been displayed for the same. Apart from that, this developer month free training is being conducted. So in case if you want to join, you can go ahead and register yourself. Since it's a developer month, so the training will be provided for free. So in case if you want, you can register it over there and you can get some knowledge about Zoho Creator. And this is going to happen for stage 2 for the next week. This is the registration link. And in case if you have any questions, please post your questions into the questions tab. I'll just put myself on mute for a couple of minutes. And if you want, you can post it to us training@zohocreator.com. Once again, thanks for joining. Have a nice day. Bye.